Why is this always the case that someone who is not really relevant anymore always says this shit? Like they blame, it's almost like I think they blame their diminishing relevancy and their diminishing career on black people and gay people. On any person of color, any queer person. It's always like 60-plus-year-old angry white dudes in Hollywood who go, you know what? This goddamn DEI is the reason why everything is fallen apart. The typical reactionary mindset. Yeah, at the end of the day, they're just reactionaries. They're looking for somebody to blame. Okay, so he he wrote a memoir called Everywhere and Oink Oink. And while promoting his memoir at the Los Angeles Times Festival of Books, he conceded that his daughters learned from spending time on set with their father, and he felt gratified by that. Speaking particularly of his daughter Zosia, who is a successful actress, her claim to fame was Girls, but she had been acting long before that because her father was a famous screenwriter. And what he said about Zosia was that his daughters have not benefited from any form of privilege. They earned it by merit. Side note, Zosia's first professional acting role was in her father's film Spartan in 2004, which also her sister Clara was in. But sure, totally earned by merit, no privilege whatsoever, no advantages at all of having a father who was a writer and director in Hollywood and who has like been nominated for an Oscar. Nothing. Nope. No advantages. Mel Baby Dragon, thank you for the tier 1. He said, nobody ever gave my kids a job because of who they were related to. What a thing to say. And also, how the fuck do you know that? Like, how do you know with certainty that your children never got a job because of you? Also, motherfucker, you gave them jobs. You gave them and your wife acting jobs because they were your family, because they're your family members. The toad brain mindset that this is astounding. To literally look at your daughter's and your wife's career, of which you gave them multiple acting opportunities because you were in a position to do so, and say nobody ever gave my kids a job because of me. Buddy, look in the fucking mirror. Zosia recently appeared in Madam Web and The Flight Attendant. Clara was a regular on 2012 ABC series The Neighbors. And here's the other thing with nepotism. So, nepotism in Hollywood specifically. Let's say that a Nepo baby wasn't given an acting job because their parent was Steven Spielberg. Fine. However, they got in the fucking door because of their parent. They got an agent. A lot of times, Nepo babies have the agents, like start out and have the agents that their parents have or their grandparents. So there are so many ways that they have advantages. and are given opportunities or given things that somebody without their connections would not have, that's not just literally, oh, here's the acting role that we're going to give to you. But that also happens. They have so much access. Exactly. It's like the access and the ability to get your foot in the door has been totally discounted. Like it's not a thing by these people who cry about nepotism not being real, when that's so much of the struggle of succeeding in this town. Access and getting your foot in the door. Getting your foot in the door is so fucking hard to accomplish. So many talented people who don't even get the chance to get their foot in the door. As a normal person in Hollywood, it is so hard to even accomplish that. I don't begrudge anyone taking every advantage they can, but be real about it. Exactly. That's how the world works. We understand that. But the people, and this is every fucking time, every time we have this conversation, the people who pretend like they don't have privileges, like they don't have advantages, are the ones that make me want to rip my hair out. Because not only were you lucky enough to have these advantages, now you're going to pretend like you never did. Do you know how many fucking people would have killed for those advantages? And if they were told like, oh, by the way, you might have to acknowledge that you got advantages, or by the way, people will say that you had advantages, they would still fucking take them. If someone told me like, hey, you will have the advantages of nepotism, but people will call you a Nepo baby. Like in Hollywood, people will call you a Nepo baby. People will say you had advantages. Guess what? I'd be like, great. Yeah, I do. Give me the advantages. Give me a sash that says Nepo baby. I'd wear it as if I were Miss America. Like, truly. Nepo baby. I've had advantages. Not to mention the benefit from being of being from a wealthy family in the first place. Yes. And unfortunately, being in an industry like Hollywood means that if you have money, if you come from money, you have an advantage because it's really expensive to follow your acting dreams. And a lot of people like work a bunch of jobs, try to scrape together the money to like pay for the cost of living out in a city like LA and New York. And it gets to a point that they can't do it anymore. Or gets to a point they're like, I'm 35 years old. I have no savings. I can't work as a bartender anymore while trying to go on auditions. It's just not going to happen. I'd volunteer to be a nepotism. I remember watching a documentary about the Varsity Blues scandal a while ago. A lot of the parents would say and act like their kids got into the colleges based off their own merits. But in reality, the parents paid for the kids' way in because of the wealth they had. Right. That was the joke with Felicity Huffman, who went a step further than what rich people normally do, which is like, just buy a library, buy a wing of the school, like give a very generous endowment. That's what normal rich people do. But Felicity took it a step further and illegally cheated. Like that's legal cheating for rich people. Yeah, you just spend a bunch of money, you buy your way in. That's how it works. Anyway, so David Mamet wants the world to know that his kids never had any advantages. They earned everything by merit, never benefited from any form of privilege. No one gave them a job because of who they were related to. Okay, dude. He also slammed diversity initiatives as he expressed frustration with new diversity rules required of a film for it to be eligible for the Oscars. So remember, guys, if you're white and if you are not accomplishing something, or if there are obstacles in your way, you can just blame your failures on DEI. Very simple. He said DEI is garbage. It's fascist totalitarianism. Oh my God, I'm so sick of these people. I'm so fucking sick of these people. The writer's politics have notably drifted more conservative over the years, you don't say. Though he was known throughout his career for a hyper-masculine style of screenwriting. He now supports, you mean always be closing? No way. I love Glenn Ross, to be clear. He now supports former President Donald Trump. Oh, why is this always? Of course a man who would like blame Black people on him not having a film be eligible for the Oscars. Of course, a man who thinks that his kids have never benefited from privilege would support Donald Trump, the king of nepotism, whose father got rich fucking over Black people. Just, oh my God. The famed writer said he believes the notion that someone can't win a stupid fucking statue unless you have 7% of this, 8% of that. It's intrusive. He's also been against the writers' strikes. Oh, shocking. Yeah, he's anti-union. He was against the writers' strike in 2007 and 2024. Oh, pretends to be shocked. There will be less work, he said, of a future with a declining film industry and potential use of artificial intelligence. But the scripts will be better. None of this is surprising. I just looked up this guy's movies and I don't think DEI is what's preventing him from getting that stupid statue. Yeah, like my dude, you haven't made a successful movie in 22 years. It ain't DEI. DEI in 2001 wasn't DEI. Huh? 300 and what? Thank you for the 18 months. Like what? There was nothing in 2001. Besides, yeah, what? The Patriot Act? The opposite of DEI? That's what was going on in 2001. AI is not going to be advanced to the point that scripts are going to be amazing for the next decade or so. Yeah, every single take he has is awful. Shocking to no one. In his memoir, Everywhere in Oink Oink, an embittered, dyspeptic, and accurate report of 40 years in Hollywood. What a title. Clearly, David Mamet is experiencing, oh, no one cares about me anymore. I am not at the top of this industry. I am not bitter. The book. In the playwright's memoir, he describes a world gone by, some of our most beloved film stars with their hair down, and how it all got washed away by digital media and the woke brigade. Gotta throw wokeism in there. Of course. I mean, at this point, it's laughable that if I had read these comments to you, okay, and I didn't show you who David Mamet was, you would know that he looked like that. You would know that, like, that's him. He has been spewing this shit for a long time. True. This is not anything new. He put his wife Rebecca Pigeon in his movies, even though she wasn't a great actress. Like this guy is the king of giving his family members opportunities. In an interview earlier this year with Bill Maher, classic, Mamet also decried wokeism while maybe unintentionally pointing out its benefits. The bright side of wokeism is when you turn on the television, all the commercials and most of the people in television shows are people of color. That's not fucking true, though. All of the commercials and most of the people in television shows are still, well, not all the commercials, but like most actors are still white. What do you mean they're people of color? I think people like him, I think people like David Mamet, for every person of color that they see, they times it by 10. So if there are, let's say there's 5 actors, okay? 3 of them are white, 1 is black, and one is Latino. They're going to count those 2 actors of color times 10. So they're going to look at like that is where that's the math that they're doing. I remember Mark Maron prefaced his interview with him that he disagreed with him on almost every issue. I love how he had to disclaimer, be like, by the way, do not agree with this guy. In fact, he fucking sucks. I hate this guy. Just want to let you guys know. Anyway, he said all the commercials and most of the people in television shows are people of color, so it's bad for white actors, but on the other hand, it used to be bad for black actors. Yeah. But the good thing is that white America gets used to looking at black people, not as Sidney Poitier, not as Willie Best, but as people, and that's really great. Yeah, that's the fucking point. What? David? Oh, dude, you're there. You're so there, dude. You're so there, and then you're so not there. And the thing that's so transparent is obviously this is diversity is not just black people, but it feels like these fuckos use DEI as a slur for black people. I've said this before, but wokeism is a way to say the N-word. Like it's always at the end of the day comes down to there being too many black people. And they want to say slurs so badly, but they can't do that. So that's why they're going to use these words. Or the F slur. Yeah, they just want to use slurs. Right, you see a black mayor. And they'll call that mayor a DEI mayor. They'll call that mayor a woke mayor. It's a way to literally be like N-word mayor. That's what this is. Oh yeah, these are his quotes on Donald Trump. He thought Donald Trump was a great president, which he was. Well, he did a great job as president. Well, if you put everything you see on these little screens aside and look at what happened during the Trump presidency, we told China to knock it off. We told NATO to start paying their fair share. We moved the embassy of the United States to Jerusalem and Israel. Shocker. I bet he's a Zionist. Gas prices were down. God, these fuckers love to talk about gas. There was the lowest black unemployment in history. Like Donald Trump says, no one's done more for the blacks than Donald Trump. At least he's not an election denier, right? Quote, the idea that people are going to steal elections is ignorance because people steal elections all the time. The question is, what was the extent of the election rigging? I don't know, but was it questionable? Yes. God. Incredible. I don't know, but was it questionable? Yes.